Hello Year 7, and this week we're going to carry on building on our coin game that we did last week. So here you've got your 3 lines of code where we imported random because random isn't loaded when you first load idle. We've got our list called coin heads and tails, and in our original program we print the random choice from that list using the random.choice brackets coin command. Right, so what I actually want to do is I want to build on this so that we store the value and then we can guess at what we think it's going to be, so we can make it into a guessing game. So let's instead of printing it, let's make a variable for it. So this is going to be the CPU is random choice. I'm going to call it the computer's random choice. So the CPU is make a random choice from coin. Then I'm going to allow the player to guess whether it's heads or tails. So I'm going to say I'm going to make a new thing called player, or I can call it guess. I'm going to go with player. I'm going to say, right, player is equal to an input. So input's a reserved word, so it's gone purple. And then we're going to ask the question, heads or tails. Now, I've put capital H and capital T on heads or tails because I want the player to type in with a capital, because it needs to match the ones that are in our list. Later on, I'll show you a trick where actually they can type in upper or lowercase, but for now, we'll keep it nice and simple. So heads or tails, and I'm going to put a space after it, and that's just a nice little design feature so that when it asks the question, the player doesn't instinctively put a space to move it on. It's the space is already built in. We don't want them to put a space because when it compares their answer, it will include that space. So put a little space after the question, then our speech marks, then close the brackets. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if CPU, so if the computer's random choice is equal, so remember 2 equals means equals in Python. So is it the same as the player? Then is represented by colon. Oh. Make sure I get this right because I'm not getting the right shift. And there you go. So if they match, they're going to say, well done. That was correct. I've forgotten to put print there. So we're going to print bracket speech marks, well done, that was correct. And then on the next line, I'm going to print the outcome. So I'm going to print CPU, so print the random choice that the computer made. I'm not going to put that in speech marks because it's not, I don't want it to print the letter CPU, I want it to find the variable CPU, the value of the variable CPU, and print that. Okay, so that's if they match. And I'm going to use an else. Now remember that else doesn't take any conditions, so I don't have to say else if CPU doesn't equal player, it does everything else. If it doesn't match everything else, we're going to print something like unlucky, try again, and then full stop. Okay, and then I'll do the same. I will print CPU underneath. I'll print the value of CPU, remember, not the letter CPU, so no speech marks. Let's run it. So run module, see if I've made any mistakes. Do I need to do any debugging? So it's asking me heads or tails, so I'm going to put capital HE heads. Well done, that was correct. Heads, brilliant. Let's try it again, make sure it's working properly. So I need to run the module again. We'll try heads again. It says well done again, so I'm going to keep going with this until I lose. So let's hope I'm not too lucky. 3 wins in a row. I'm getting a bit nervous that this isn't working. Awesome, I lost, I think. That's awesome. Right, okay, so unlucky, try again. It was tails. Okay, now I'm going to try tails and see if I can win and lose with that. Run module, tails. So I've lost with tails, so I need to win with tails. Nope, it's another loss. Run again. Pretty sure this should work. Awesome. So there you go, I've proved that it works. So that just by adding a few more lines of code, now I've got an input, so I've got a game that's actually interactive with my computer. that gives me a response whether I'm right and a response whether I'm wrong. Have a go at making it, guys, and see what else you can do with this sort of algorithm. So think, how else could you use this sort of heads or tails, 50-50 chance, or maybe you could do extra options, so not just heads and tails, but you could say pick a number between 1 and 6, or pick a number between 1 and 10, and see if you can make a code that actually interacts with the player's choice. If you have a go, you can screenshot your code and submit it underneath. Best of luck, guys, and I will see you all soon.